Hello, good morning, everybody. I wanted to share something that happened last night. I'm in a I'm in a hotel, come in for an appointment, and so I'm not home. But I woke up from a dream about 2 o'clock in the morning that was really crazy, and I ain't had a dream like this in a long time. Not since I became a new believer like 20 years ago, whenever I was 17, 18 years old. But it was so vivid, and I don't know, it was crazy. It's one of those dreams that you won't forget. Um, it's all kind of normal. It's hard. I'm not good at describing this because I want to get into all the little details, and before you know it, I'm off. But so in this dream, I'm at an old place I used to live, and we get down to a swimming hole, to a little low water creek, a low water bridge. And I remember seeing the fish. The water was so clear and nice, and there was fish all in the river, like salmon type. And that isn't normal back from where I live, which I don't think that matters, but there's like salmon. The one thing that stood out was that I'm standing on this bridge looking down into the water, and I see the granddaddy of all big mouth bass. And this thing is about the size of a king salmon. It's like 4 foot long, and its head is a few foot wide. And I remember this young kid, he reached down and grabbed it, and we're admiring this fish. And then I go, I'm up at the road, and there's this girl I was with, and she had just like spray painted her truck, and it kind of looked nice, and so we was admiring it. And on this truck there was like a little dial that was clicking down, and it was a really really small number, but it was like a bunch of zeros, and then like a one or something. I mean, like a real low number. I forget what number it was. And then there was another couple numbers that were ticking really fast, but they were going backwards. They were being deleted. And on this dial, normally, like, you'll see the hours of a machine, or like speedometer or this or that, gallons or whatever. On this dial, it said Sunbomb. And immediately I look up at the sun, and the sun was in such a way where you could look at it without sunglasses. And around the sun, there was this compass that was around the sun that had like north, south, west, and east, and a bunch of ticks for it, in between. And within that compass, right around the ring of the sun, was a bunch of spaces that was divided, and in it was Hebrew writing. I don't speak Hebrew, but I know that it was Hebrew writing. And immediately I go to praising Jesus. That's Jesus. And another person that was there, he said Yeshua. And I don't care either one, and I don't think there was a distinction in that. We both went to praising him. But immediately we knew that it was time to get home, and we're rushing home. And we're trying to get everything all in order, because we're not necessarily sure what this means or what's going on. We just know that biblical things are happening, and I praise Jesus all the time anyway. So in my dream, we're getting everything around. We're at the cabin, but we're back here in Alaska, and I'm thinking that, like the sun bomb, it's gonna blow up and everybody's gonna get burned up, or a large amount of radiation or heat is gonna hit, and it's gonna get hot. And so I'm trying to look for any place underground or a root cellar that we may have. And but we decided to stay in the cabin because it did have a basement in the cabin. And I remember certain family members that were there. My mom and my dad was there, but they're not together anymore. But they were there, and I think a few other people. And I also remember that a certain Air Force plane, numero uno, was in my dream, and I could see that it was about to collide with another, and it went down into the forest next to the house. And the light, you could just see the darkness in the sky. Even though the sun was out, it was like darkness was invading the sky. And I was talking to my little brother on a phone, and I was trying to explain the urgency of what was going on and what he needed to do or to get in order. And I was talking to him very long, just about a minute or so on the phone, and it was like a breaker tripped. You hear that click, and the breaker trips, and that's what happened to the whole earth, and everything went pitch black. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It just went click, and everything was dark. No electronics worked. Nothing worked. It was like the sun completely just shut off, and you were stuck wherever you were at in the dark. And we had to just sit there. And that was the time that I woke up. But it was so... Never had a dream like that before. And just sitting and pondering what everything means, and just trying to go over on it. Light was the very first thing that God created. Let there be light on day one. And if you understand the Christian religion, the Jewish religion, Abrahamic religions, you should understand that the whole earth was created for man. And it was created to bring God's glory from heaven to the earth. As Jesus said, as it is in heaven, let it be done on the earth. And we were created in his image to be a reflection of his glory in heaven. And light was the very first thing that God created, and it was created for us. And the whole earth throughout these ages have rejected him and rejected him and rejected him. And this was a time that he was taking things back. And as you read in the old prophets about a certain country and her sister kingdom that committed harlotries against him and served foreign idols and foreign gods, he took away the blessings that he gave them. They gave credit to their foreign gods and idols for their food, for their harvests, for their children, for all this stuff. And God spoke through the prophets that he would take those things away, and there was a time that he did. Light is, again, one thing that he has given man. And it's not just light. The animals are going to be affected by all this too. And if you read in Revelations, and not just Revelations, but it's throughout all the prophets, they all speak of the same thing. Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word has been established. I just wanted to share that dream. I was contemplating 2 o'clock in the morning, Lord, what do I do with this? What am I supposed to do? And I was afraid to get on here and talk because I start getting too much into the details, and before you know it, I'm off here and there, whatever. But I'm gonna post this, and God bless all of you. Jesus is the light, and that was another thing that was very understandable in my dream, is that there's going to be things that we all got to go through, all of us. We're not getting out of it. And the only way that it's going to be bearable at all, is having faith in him. Because even in that darkness, he was the light to me in my dream. So I encourage all of you to open your eyes, wake up. It's also in my dream is that everybody was going about their normal business, their normal day, as though nothing was going on. So I encourage you guys to wake up, to seek him first, to build that relationship with him, so that way, no matter what happens in life, He is always there. He's always been there. It's just that we don't ever look to him. Anyway, God bless you guys.